When we go through these series of videos having to do with emotional preparation, the goal is to be able to really dive into how to use your emotions to be able to affect your work. So you want to be able to use your emotions and use all those parts of yourself that you actually sometimes, in many cases, a lot of people don't know how to access. And then you find out how to access those parts and then have those available to work in your work, in acting. Now, your goal is not to force those things into existence. So you don't want to take everything that you're mustering up or you've activated or that you can feel that's alive inside of you and force it to go into your work in acting. What you want to do is you want to take all of the essences of every single bit of your emotional life that you've developed and that you're activating, and you want to be able to have it available for your acting. So, and then the next step and the thing to trust is that it will be activated by some sort of interaction in your acting work. So the goal is not to be able to present what it is that you've done in emotional preparation. Your goal is to fully be able to be interactive and be open enough to be interactive with your emotional preparation. So whatever it is that you're being able to awaken inside of yourself in emotional preparation, you're then able to, because it takes time to train to be able to be open, but you're then going to learn how to be open to others and to be open to outside stimulation. And when you're open to being having the outside stimulation fester with you or start to interact, then you're going to be able to have incredible results in your acting, because your acting all of a sudden takes what it is, which is your internal stimulus, and you're able to actually have a full living life experience in real time, by the way. So having a real time experience in acting is an achievement in and of itself. You want to be able to achieve it so that you're able to have everything that you've been able to activate available to the others in your acting, as well as to the circumstances of your acting. And you want to be able to achieve that so that it's open, available, and sometimes it doesn't get activated. And this is the key to the whole thing, because you want to be able to have the emotion available if it gets truthfully activated. You want it to be available if you can truthfully have it activated. You do not want to cause it to be activated yourself. You want to cause it to be truthfully activated. So, if you're just alone talking to a camera or working in an acting scene and you only have a camera, then you might have to just give it just a touch of activation yourself to be able to get the activation going. But the interaction has to be genuine enough that it's actually very close to the actual scene when you do a two-person scene than you're doing a scene when you're just one person in the camera. And this is something that can be learned if you're able to put attention to be able to learn it. So, but the major aspect to this is you must be truthfully activated. Your emotions must be truthfully activated for them to be real and remain real. And then that turns into what it is like to be present in a scene. So to be present in a scene, you want to be alive and awake. You want to be structured in a way that you're taking in, that is, that you're able to receive in the moments that present themselves to you. For instance, I'm feeling just a little bit thirsty. So I respond to that and I'm able to have a drink. It's very simple, just like that with acting. You want to be able to have truthful responses. And as silly of an example that is, it was truthful. So you want to be able to find simple, truthful examples like this in your work where you have interaction happening and you have stimuluses that it's happening because of interaction and because of how you feel when you're in a circumstance. So let's say you have no scene partner in the one side take that they're taking of your acting, but they're going to match it with a two-person scene with other. So you want to be able to do the same emotional preparation or very similar. So you're in the same ballpark region of your emotion, and then you want to be able to just nudge it a little bit of an interaction, and then you want to have having the interaction. So sometimes when you see these videos with me, you want to be able to notice that the occasionally I'll be working on an example where I have an emotion that I'm speaking about, and you'll see the emotion kind of there but not fully, and you'll wonder to yourself, wonder if he's doing the work correctly or not, because he doesn't actually have the emotion exactly pouring out of him. Well, that is actually what you call correct technique, because you want to have the technique of having the emotion accessible, but not to be able to force the emotion to be able to force itself into existence. And this is one of the things that often takes quite a long time to learn when you're learning emotional preparation for acting, because you're able to facilitate an ability to trust that you basically don't need to do the acting work in a certain way. That you don't need to do the acting work in a way that has to be pontification. That you still have a presence of being, regardless of how it is that you approach it. You approach it in a way that you trust that you have a sense of your own being. So when you're involved in these processes of acting, you want to be able to trust that element. When you're dealing with creators and creating videos or other materials that that have personal content in them, you want to be able to utilize parts of emotional preparation in your acting and realize that maybe it's not even called acting, maybe it's just called creating. So you're looking at the creating aspects of acting where you're not so much involved in a scene necessarily acting, but you are involved in presenting something. But even in these cases, you're not pontificating. You're not to be over the top with your emotional life unless there's a stylistic element to that you're trying to achieve by doing so. But in many cases, you want to learn to be able to use emotional preparation techniques to help your creating by trusting that it's given some sort of an undercurrent inside of you and internally. And because you've learned by trusting that you don't have to really perform in your acting or in your creating, when you're creating aspects, videos, or even in acting, then you learn that the interaction of thoughts and ideas and the interaction of mindset and the interaction of really expressing an idea and expressing what it is that you're really trying to communicate. And those aspects start to come out more and more, that you end up trusting that you don't need to perform. So it makes it a lot easier when you have that element of relaxation. It makes it a lot easier for the audience actually to be able to understand and comprehend you. Regardless of, you might have various different speech elements. Sometimes for various different reasons you could have various different accents. If you're international in any way at all, you might have various different ways that you speak. Many different languages speak very quickly. Especially some of the Latin languages are very quick. And if you have backgrounds in those languages, you'll have a tendency to want to talk at those fast paces. And that's not a problem, but it is something that you can adjust so that it's a better solution, so that you're able to be comprehended better. And that's just a very good advice on how to be able to work with the creative aspects with creating, with also including emotional preparation as an aspect to be able to awaken inside of you some sort of impetus that you have, that you're able to work on in your creative work with the doing videography or vlogs, or even the same principles. Many of the same principles apply to acting. So try out the different techniques yourself, and look to be able to achieve something more than just yourself, by allowing yourself to have the emotion stimulated, have something going on in you. You can feel that there's something going on with you. It could be a little bit of excitement, it could be something more, it could be something very different. But you feel something going on inside of you, and then you trust the process, you hand it over to the process, and you start to interact with the ideas and the concepts, and then start to create based off of those types of ideologies. And you will be able to achieve more relaxed work on camera, and the audiences should be able to receive you quite a lot better.